Okay, in this session, we're going to look at moving around your document. Now, the very first thing I want you to do is go to Window, Workspace, and click on Essentials Classic. If it's already ticked, click on to Reset Essentials Classic. This will change the layout of the program, and I want you to change to that so that you can see the same elements and the same screen layout as I currently do. Now, over on the right-hand side, you'll notice it's opened the CC libraries, which we'll get to later. So there's a little double arrow over at the top, and when we click it, it closes that panel. The second level over here also has that double arrow, and I want you to click that so that we can open up the panels that we're going to be looking at in the beginning. Now, the other thing I want you to do immediately is to go to File, Save As, and we'll save this under our files, and we'll just call it, let's call it Zoom Out, because that's going to be our publication name. And you can keep all of your files in one location as you work through the course. Now, you'll notice it says it is an INDD file. This is called your open file. Now, very, very important. When you do a design, the final result is passed off as a PDF. So the PDF document will be sent to the printers. You might also be exporting a design as a JPEG file, maybe for social media, or you can do it in any other image format. But the INDD file is the file that contains all of your boxes that can still be changed afterwards. If you make your PDF or your image, that file can't be changed afterwards. So we always keep this INDD file some way safe. If the client comes back to us and they say, we want you to make a change to the document, we have to reopen that file. Okay. Now, let's look at our little environment over here. Over on the left-hand side, you have the full toolbar. Okay, and of course, as you saw earlier, we'll use this toolbar to create our boxes and our content. Now, you also notice that some of these tools have this little triangle next to it. That means there's more options on the flyout. So for instance, if we click on the text tool and we hold in the mouse or your button, then you'll see there's two options over there. Over on the circle, there's the rectangle, the ellipse, and the polygon. And if we change it, it changes the little icon for that tool. So just take note of that. Then we have the property bar over at the top. And the property bar gives us further options relating to the specific tool that we have. So look, for instance, if I keep the black arrow, we have all of these settings we can change. If I click the text tool, this whole panel changes to give us all the text controls. And there's two levels. See those two buttons? There's two levels to the text controls, the character control and the paragraph control. It's the only tool that has two levels over there. Now we'll get into all these little boxes and what they do later on. Over on the right-hand side, we have the panels, and we're working with these panels all the time. So for instance, we can see the pages in the Pages panel. If you can't see it, you just click between these tabs in order to see their content. Now the Pages panel I'll explain to you in a moment. And then even we've got stroke, we've got color, we have the swatches, which is the colors we're going to use in the document. And these panels can also be pulled out. Maybe you're working with, let's say, links a lot. You can pull it out from the tab and make a floating panel. And in that way you can set up your whole working environment. We can also, for instance, if you're working with swatches a lot, you can pull this out and put it over there. We can also pull them back. Now notice, I'm not clicking on this area. I'm clicking right on the tab and dragging it back and snapping it into whichever panel we want. You also make these bigger or smaller. And let's put the links one back in here. Now, if, for instance, you accidentally pull one out and you close it with this X, that panel is not missing. It's under Window. and we can pull it back by clicking pages, and we can slot it back here. Okay, any of these panels can be recovered from the window command. One of my students once said, if you can't find something, or you can't find, in real life something, you open a window. It's the same thing, so you'll never forget it. From window, we also have additional panels, which isn't open over here, which we will work through. And all of these, for instance, if we go to styles and we want to do character style, it will open up that panel. You can also then slot in that whole panel by selecting it and dragging it into the right side. So you can see that eventually you will build your own perfect environment in which you work. And it's also possible to then go to Window, Workspace, and you can create a new workspace from how you've set it up. We can call this my print workspace. So now if you work with, let's say, with digital content, you have your own workspace set up. There it is. And there's my new one. And then you change it over to the print workspace again, in which your panels will be rearranged according to how you like to work. Okay, what else do we have here? We have the top menu, of course. Under File, we can save the document. We can open other documents. We can, for instance, open a new document as well. And what would happen is you'll have two documents over at the top here. And you can switch between them, which we will do a lot. Notice on the tab of the open document, there's this little X. And that X would close the probe or the current file. Okay, so be careful that you don't accidentally click on that X. Also, get into the habit right from the beginning to save your document every 5 times. Okay, you don't want something to go wrong and to lose that file. Over in the File menu as well, we have commands to create our final PDF, which we'll get to. We have the export command to export our design as image. And then, of course, publish online, where we can create an online version of our design or of our publication. Okay. Anytime that you want to go back to the document setup, we can also access it from File, Document Setup, and it opens the panel where we can change our margins. We can change the width and the height of the document and the number of pages. So if you made a mistake in setting up the document in the beginning, you can always go back and change that. Okay. You also have to edit your layout. You type into Object. We'll work through with that. You have your table menu. And then the View menu is very important. Now, I want you to make a few mental notes and memorize this, because you're going to use the next shortcuts 1,000 times a day as you work. The first one, if you look at your page at the moment, you have the edge of the page, you have the margin line, also called the type area, and you have this red line, which is called the bleed area. Remember when we extended the image to be slightly further for that cutting area? There's the red line showing you the bleed. So, the first thing we're going to do is use this little magnifying glass and zoom into the document. The more we click, the further we zoom in. And of course, if you build your design, you would want to check whether a specific area translates correctly or whether there's any mistakes, so you will constantly be zooming in and out. Your first shortcut, memorize this, say it 5 times. Control-0 on a PC or Command-0 on a Mac. It zooms back to show you the full page. Okay, so if we zoom in, we press Control-0, it's zooming back out. Another way to zoom in is maybe we want to zoom into this area of our design. So we can drag a little box with a magnifying glass, which just zooms into that area. And again, our Control-0 or Command-0 would zoom back to show you the full page. We also have these scroll bars at the top and the bottom. So if we take the scroll bar down, we can see page 2 and 3 of our document. And if we add more pages, we can scroll through the whole document. If you've zoomed in, you can do the same, and you can move through the document. But there's something interesting on the zoom. If you hold down spacebar when you've zoomed in, and you click and drag, you'll notice that you can move around the document quite easily. Okay, so that's a very nice way with once you're zoomed to just see the full document. Okay, I'm gonna scroll back. Over on the right hand side, the pages panel, very, very important. We can double click on a page
to jump to that specific page in the document.
You'll notice there's also these 3 pages at the top. They are called the master pages, and we will explain them a lot later when we get to page numbering and all these sort of things. Right, so that's your programming environment, and that's how you would move around your document. So in the next session, we're taking a closer look at all the panels. I'll see you in the next session.